and Bill Edley from the Congregation of the Holy Spirit. And together with the first board of 7 people, they did a great job in planning this organization and giving it a good foundation. They handed Chef Donners, who was the first executive director, and I was the associate director, a plan that we initially thought maybe could fulfill it in 2 years. AFJN is still busy fulfilling it 35 years later, and we still have a lot of work to do. But the plan for the future was well laid out with missionaries in this country advocating with the U.S. government, building a great big membership base, and people in Africa advocating with their own governments. Because with injustices, you can only act where you hold citizenship. And some injustices begin in Africa, and the Africans are responsible, and they must deal with their governments. And we in the United States, policies begin here, and we advocate with our governments. And the important thing was that the two groups talk together so that we are working together. And it's taken 35 years to get pretty close to that today, and we're still working at it. And so those were our first, the beginnings. And I would say, as a Catholic sister from the church perspective, 2 instances had a great impact on me, and I think most. Back in 1983-84, we were kind of coming out of Vatican II. Most of us, in fact all of us, were involved in the founding of AFJN, either had processed all the documents of Vatican II, living in Africa with African people, or in this country, interested in Africa. So Vatican II had a big impact on us, and it still is today, I believe. The second one, was referred to this morning, was the music changed, as Ariadne said, and the dance changed. And that was in April 1994. 3 significant things happened that year. First of all, we talked about it this morning, we had Rwanda, and we grieved with Rwanda. And then we had the independence of South Africa, and we rejoiced with South Africa at the time. And at the time, we were at the African Synod in Rome. 4 organizations, 2 African and 1 European and ourselves, were NGOs there doing the NGO work. And we were there for the Synod. And that Synod brought about an empowerment and a renewed energy among the Africans. At least that's how I see it. And I came back from that Synod completely lost my balance in a way. What way do we go now? Because the world had changed in 1 month for me. Now, back to AFJN. Our first office was at the USCMA. We had 2 offices, Chef Donners in one, and Suzanne Langer was the secretary. She was from Belgium, and myself in the second. And at the time, fortunately, the call for AFJN had been to do research, analysis, education, and networking. And among our first 2 executive directors, neither one who's able to be here today because I'm there with God, Chef Donners was a great researcher, great educator, and he did a lot of work on educating the membership. We had several books on militarism in Africa, on famine in Africa, and on refugees in Africa, just to mention a few. And so he was a good networker in the sense that he knew a little about the United States, but he reached out to Europe and made all sorts of European connections for us. In Africa, we were quickly connected in with the African church so that we had that. Chef was with us for the first 3 years. And then Ted Hayden became the executive director. Ted was very different. He worked very hard at building up the finances of the organization, and he also was into advocacy. He was a great advocate, and I think the first days in the office, we were down on Capitol Hill. And to mention advocacy, one reason why AFJN was founded was because Central America and South Africa had very strong advocacy organizations in this country at the time. We mentioned a few of them this morning on Central America. And South Africa, Washington Office of Africa, focused on South Africa, the anti-apartheid movement. So when we started, we supported everything South Africa, our Washington Office of Africa did. We were part of all of their meetings, and actually that's where I learned my advocacy skills, was working with the South African advocacy groups. And then what we did at that time also was Ted was very, very good at that. We also connected with the organizations here in Washington. Our sole purpose was to get sub-Saharan Africa on someone's agenda because nobody was thinking of it at that time. And one thing that was very helpful, Chef and I found very helpful anyway, was every other month, I don't know if people here remember it, the Catholic organizations all met at the Bishops' Conference on every other first Friday for social, and each organization had a chance to share what they were doing in terms of advocacy. Mary Noel, Columbus, Center of Concerns, Network, ourselves. We were all there and shared to see how we could help each other. And Chef would take a long time. Now you have to bring this to educate the other organizations. There are other countries in Africa, and we worked on them. Then as far as the Congress was, and at the time we had over 1,000 missionaries in Africa, and they were very active. They supplied a lot of information to us. They were in contact with us. And we had workshops every summer to educate for both the Africans who were home leave and the advocates here among the Americans here on the issues. And every year we had our annual meeting, which focused on education on some African issue. And so, and in the Congress at the time, we were fortunate we had Howard Wolpe in the House, and here in the Senate, the whole time I was there, we had Senator Paul Simon for the majority, and Senator Nancy Cassavon for the ranking member, as it were, and both were very, very supportive to us. On the issues, when Ted came into the office, right away we divided up what we saw were the two important issues. Ted worked on hunger, food security, and liaison with Bread for the World a lot of times. I took up the economic justice issues, the third world debt that we talked about this morning, structural adjustment, and things like that. And then we didn't focus on the countries, but some countries were crying out for help, as it were. And the first country I remember doing advocacy on was Sudan, of all places. And early on, it was the early 1990s, it was the Cambodian missionaries in Sudan who sent us a dossier by way of Asia, Latin America, to our office. Remember, we didn't have social media in those days, and things came slowly. It was all about the massacre in El Zaim, where the Sudanese were put into the railroad car and burned to death. At that stage, I connected with the Mennonites, and we were here to Congress to get somebody working on Sudan that didn't take much attention. And then, this is really funny when I look back on it. What happened was, I heard there were going to be hearings on Sudan. And right away Ted said, oh, we have to testify for that. Because who knew much about Sudan in those days? And thank you. Who knew much much about Sudan in those days. So at any rate, I called I was the House of Representatives, Senate Africa Subcommittee. Could I testify? Well, they said, well, no, but you submit written testimony. So I sat down to write my written testimony, and we're very fussy in those days. Everything had to be, this here? Oh, there are? Okay. Oh, they would? See me 35 years later? I still look the same, mind you. We have 4 attendees, okay. Hello, everybody. Let me get this right so you can see my whole face, all right? Okay. And so I sat down to write the testimony, and all of a sudden I said to myself, who am I to be writing this? I don't know anything about it. I have no credibility. And we're very insistent upon being very credible right from the beginning. So Bishop Max Gaziz from the Diocese of El Bay was in Europe at the time. So I called him. I told him what was happening. I said, can you send me some testimony, some information? Yes. Well, nothing came. It was the day before the hearings. I'm off someplace else, so I could see you with something. The phone rings from the Africa Subcommittee to Ted. Ted was in the office. We're looking for your written testimony. Nothing is written. So Ted sits down and writes something. And the next morning, he's down here in Congress. And at that stage, the State Department, there's nobody from the State Department here, was up there testifying. Everything is fine in Sudan. Everything is running smoothly. All of a sudden, the door of the room opened. And who came walking in but Bishop Max Gaziz and the editor of Sudan Times. Well, of course, that just changed everything. Well, Mac was all over Capitol Hill. And the bishop said to me afterwards, he said, I sat down to send you something. And I said, this is too important. I have to come. And this has been was my experience very much when I was at AFJN. The African Church did take the United States and Congress very, very seriously. So we did a lot of work on Sudan. Sister Frederica Jacob was the staff person who really spent a long time here when she was in Africa working on Sudan, here in AFJN, coming to the Congress. Is my 3 minutes up? Am I 3 minutes up? Can I continue a bit? I won't go much long, I promise you. And so what happened was then another country that we did Sudan was very important to us. South Africa, of course, was important because we worked on the anti-apartheid, and that's where I got my education, thanks to South Africans. I did not know how to lobby, and I learned a lot from the experts there. The next country that was, we did a lot of work in all the African countries, and had a library where Ezekiel Pajibu and Frederica and myself built up resources from everywhere, and behind the scenes, we did a lot of work, because anybody who was going to give testimony somewhere or another came to search our library. We got phone calls, and what I mean is when we visited, we brought back things. When Africans came, they brought things to us. The bishop sent us things. So we always had good, reliable documentation to support advocacy. The next country was Congo, and by then, the fax machine was just coming into being, and Sister Maureen Ely, a nursing sister, came and worked in the AFJN office, and there was a Jesuit in Kinshasa who daily sent her reams and reams from Kinshasa over the fax, so we had plenty of materials. And Maureen and Jane Quinlan, who was an intern at the time, and Sister Sanger, were in Congress day and night, and I think they were well known here. So we worked on 3 3 countries very extensively, and of course, Liberia, as was mentioned this morning. Ezekiel Podge was a Liberian, and I almost became a Liberian. I worked so hard with him. We were in and out all the time to Congress over the Liberian issue. Then food security, of course, Frederica had done a lot with Ted Hayden. Then on the economic justice, I would say we did work, well, I need to mention AGOA. We did have an African trade working group that was ecumenical. And we worked very, very hard for some of the against some of the provisions that are in it, and for a better AGOA. We did not win because people above our heads had more clout than we did. But we did try, we did work very hard, and after AGOA was passed, that group kind of broke up, mostly because we were discouraged. But we did also, at that time, we joined the 50 years is enough in the, for the 50th anniversary of the World Bank and the IMF. We were into the World Bank and IMF all the time. We were at the State Department. We were at the UN. I used to go to the UN almost every Thursday. We were everywhere, but what we did on the economic justice was that afterwards, after the 50 years, we were coming to the millennium. So Jubilee USA was beginning. But prior to that, we had a religious working group on the World Bank and the IMF. Then that morphed into Jubilee 2000, and we connected a lot with the Europeans on that. And we had a statement of the whole of Africa, the whole world on signing off on the third world debt. And then what happened is that we worked for 50 years is enough, and then we had the AGOA, as I say, and that was the beginning of the Jubilee 2000, which is now Jubilee USA. So I think I've covered pretty much the issues we did and how we prepared for them. And I'm just most grateful to the people who had the foresight to begin AFJN and put it on such a good foundation that even today, I'm on the board now, 35 years later, we're still fulfilling the mandate, and we need all the help we can get here and in Africa and any place to keep it going. Thank you.
I now invite my immediate past, my professor,